Hello, everyone. Welcome to Who Wants to Grant a Billion, the only funded game show where everyone wins and nobody actually grants a billion. To kick off the competition, please welcome our host, Dwayne S. Marsh, President and CEO of Northern California Grantmakers.
Hi, everyone. Welcome to NCG's first ever, and maybe last, game of Who Wants to Grant a Billion. I'm Dwayne S. Marsh, President and CEO of Northern California Grantmakers, and I'll be your host. Before we get started, we're here to play a game show, but the truth is we'll be talking about today is not a game. In a game show format, we'll dive into facts and data about how government is supporting an equitable recovery for California and where there are major gaps. Before I introduce the contestants, let's go through the rules of the game. Each contestant will be asked 2 questions. Each question will have 4 multiple choice options and a minute of deliberation. However, if additional help is needed, contestants will be given 3 help options. First, phone a funder friend, which allows the contestant to call another funder who might know the answer. Second, go 50-50, which means we eliminate 2 of the 4 multiple choice questions for you. And third, poll the audience. That's where you come in. You only get 1 chance on each question. In order to win, you must get both your questions correct and hope the other contestants don't. After each question, we'll be joined by our policy expert, Sarah Treuhaft, Vice President of Research at PolicyLink, who will dive into the correct answer with further explanation and context for our viewers today. Sarah, welcome.
Thank you, Dwayne. Excited to be here.
Excellent. So we're looking forward to hearing what you got to say about the data. Now, let's welcome our 3 contestants. First, Priscilla Enriquez, CEO of the James B. McClatchy Foundation. Next up, Ron White, Senior Advisor at Humboldt Area Foundation and Wild Rivers Community Foundation. And lastly, Alexandra Desautels, Senior Program Manager at Power and Infrastructure at the California Endowment and one of our newest board members. Before we get started, let's get to know each of our contestants a bit more. Priscilla, you come to us from the Central Valley. What would you say is a top priority for your region? What are funders doing to support it?
Hi, Dwayne. Thank you so much. And thank you to NCG for having me. My pronouns are she, her, and my name is Priscilla Enriquez, CEO of the James B. McClatchy Foundation. And I identify as an Asian American Pacific Islander woman, specifically Korean and Filipino born in Japan, but that's a different conversation. And I have medium length dark brown hair with some bangs parted to the side. I'm standing in my standing desk in my office, and my background is blurred, but I do have beautiful windows behind me. And I would say the most important thing, really, our work is about the Central Valley, that middle swath in the map of the state of California. We care about the population of dual language learners and multilingual learners, and also the First Amendment, especially in the preservation of free speech, expression, and a free press. So thank you again, Dwayne.
That's a meaty agenda, Priscilla. Thank you guys for lifting that up. Next up, we have Ron White coming to us all the way from Humboldt County. Ron, tell us a bit about your work with the Humboldt Area Foundation.
Thank you, Dwayne. As you mentioned, my name is Ron White. I'm Senior Advisor at the Humboldt Wild Rivers Community Foundation. We cover 4 counties, Humboldt, Del Norte, Trinity, and Southern County of Curry in Oregon. I identify as African American, cisgendered male, and I am the father of 2 adult children who are probably about the same age as everybody on this program. And I am wearing a white polo shirt with a green t-shirt and live on Wiyot land.
Excellent.
The Humboldt Wild Rivers Community Foundation has a major emphasis on preserving this amazing environment that we live in through creating a just and regenerative economy and thriving youth and families using a racial justice lens. That's what we do.
And do it well. Thank you for your work. Next up, last but not least, we have to welcome Alexandra Desautels. Alex, tell us about yourself. And if you win this game, how would you grant your billion?
Hi, thanks so much for having me, Dwayne, and to the whole NCG community. I am really excited to be here this morning. I am a white woman. I have curly brown hair with bangs, and I'm old enough to have 2 kids in double digits. I have hoop earrings on this morning, a white blouse, and a gray cardigan, and I'm in a room that has gray and white walls and is a closet reborn as my home office. And I'm joining from Oakland, California, on unceded Ohlone territory. And I am a program officer, as Wayne said, with the California Endowment on the Power Infrastructure team. And I'm really excited about the California Endowment's mission to advance the health and well-being of all Californians. And specifically, I'm excited about our bold commitment to racial justice, both in our grant making and in our internal practices. And I'm really proud that we are really embarking on an internal journey centering abolition somatics as part of our healing towards deeper racial justice practice. And then the other thing I'm really excited about is our commitment to power building. In the face of the full frontal assault on human rights, the right to be and love who we choose, the right to our bodily autonomy, and the right to vote, I am proud of TCE's commitment to power building among us who are committed to racial and health justice and those who will be committed if we expand our power base. And I'm excited about our commitment to winning and holding power. I'm fired up for it. So I'm excited today too for this game show. Let's win.
Thank you so much. That couldn't be more important than it is this morning. And thank you all for joining us today. Now it's time to play Who Wants to Grant a Brilliant? Priscilla, you're up first. Are you ready?
As ready as I'll ever be, Dwayne.
Well, let's play then. Here's the first question. How many renter households applied for the statewide emergency rental assistance program before it closed on March 31st of this year? A, 549,000, B, 233,000, C, 323,000, or D, 451,000.
Wow, knowing I'm kind of shocked and appalled that it closed so recently, and knowing how much housing is a huge issue in our wonderful state of California, but not wonderful for a huge swath of people, my guess is going to be, I'm going to guess A.
A. Is that your final answer?
I'm going to make that my final answer.
Excellent. Well, let's see if you're correct. The answer is. In fact, the answer is A. Very good work on your part. Priscilla, Sarah, our policy expert, can you tell us more about this?
Yes. So we've actually, through the National Equity Atlas and in partnership with Housing Now and the Western Center on Law and Poverty, we've been tracking this program. So yes, more than 500,000 renter households applied. Rent debt, as you already suggested, Priscilla, right, has been a key equity issue in the pandemic and its economic fallout. It was low-income renters, especially renters of color, who fell behind on rent. And the federal government eventually, 9 months into the pandemic, established a rental assistance program that the state has been ran it for about a year. And we've been looking at it. So many people applied, many people had challenges applying, especially people who don't speak English as a first language. What we found, people have been waiting a long time after they applied to receive assistance. The title of our analysis was called State of Waiting, right? So at this point, the program has assisted about 260,000 households, but 290,000 are still waiting, either for their first round of assistance or for additional assistance that they've asked for. And about 72,000 have been denied. So we're looking at those denials and who's being refused assistance. And when they applied, 177,000 households on their applications said that they were facing an eviction, either a threat from their landlord or a notice. So it is really, really critical that we deliver these resources to people as soon as possible. And agree with you, Priscilla, that it ended way too early, because the census data around rent debt shows that there's about 590,000 California low-income households that still have rent debt as of the beginning of April. So really critical program to continue to track.
And I invite the audience, we have our policy expert on the screen, but you guys are doing this work as well. So feel free in the chat to share any resources or observations you have on any of the questions that we walk through. But Priscilla, that's a good start. And Sarah, thank you for those details. All right, Priscilla, let's move on to your second question.
All right.
What share of California households found it somewhat or very difficult to pay for household expenses for the weeks of March 30th to April 14th of this year? A, 15%, B, 22%, C, 34%, D, 45%.
I'm not sure. I know there's been a lot of public assistance out there, and I don't know when those have expired. They may still be open. So this might be a bit of a trick question, Dwayne. I need some help. Can I use the phone and phone a friend?
Yes, let's phone a funder. Who would you like to call?
Well, I'd like to call my colleague and board member, Joaquin Alvarado. We call him the Kevin Bacon of nonprofits and philanthropy. He just happens to know everything. Well, I guess we'll see after this.
Okay, well, let's give him a call.
All right. Joaquin?
Hello.
Hey, Joaquin. I need some help on a game show for Northern California grant makers. Can you help? Can you be my phone a friend?
Oh, I usually catch this every morning. I can't believe yeah, sure. Yeah.
Okay. Let me read the question. What share of California households find it somewhat or very difficult to pay for household expenses the weeks of March 30 through April 14th, 2022? And it's multiple choice. So here are the answers. A, 15%, B, 22%, C, 34%, or D, 45%.
Oh, man. Okay, so tell me the question again, just one more time.
What share of California households found it somewhat or very difficult to pay for household expenses the weeks of March 30th through April 14th, 2022?
You know, the somewhat expands the set.
Oh.
So I just, as we know, people struggle a lot more than we usually talk about. So I think the somewhat plus the very, it's got to be the higher number, whatever the highest is.
Okay, so that would be D, 45%.
Whatever's the highest, I think it's the highest. Yes.
Okay. All right. So I guess thanks so much, Joaquin.
Yeah. Okay. I got to run.
And thanks for being a fan, Joaquin. Glad to catch you.
No. I can't believe I don't have it on right now. But I'll watch it on tape delay.
Sounds good. So.
All right, Dwayne. My answer will be D. Our answer will be D.
Sounds like you're committing buy high, sell low. No, wait a minute. Anyway, let's see what the right answer is. Oh,
wow.
34%, still significant, but not the highest number.
Okay.
Well, at least you got a chance to catch up with Joaquin. Always a good thing. So
yes.
Good to use the line. Let's go ahead and hear a little bit more about why it's 34%. Sarah.
Yeah, so I think Joaquin's inclination that it is higher than we would expect is still right in terms of it is a large share of households that struggle on an everyday basis, right? So it was 15% that found it very difficult. And this is data from the Census Household Pulse Survey, which now continues every month. It's a really rich source of information. It was much higher among certain groups, as we would expect, right? So it's higher for women, for young people ages 18 to 39, for Latinx households, it was 44%, right? For Black households, it's 52%, much higher. For non-married households, it's higher. Households with children, it's higher. Low-income households, of course, and people with disabilities also. This really kind of aligns with general measures of economic insecurity that show that about 1 in 3 households continue to struggle. Many don't have savings. And it really underscores the need in our recovery efforts, not just for job growth, but for income supports for childcare and housing and transportation and those major household expenses, and to increase the quality of jobs so that people are earning enough to support their families.
Well, Sarah, once again, you're showing us the importance of digging a bit beneath the data. Those disproportionalities are obviously troubling and consistent with what we see in almost every life measure. So appreciate you sharing that with us. Priscilla, appreciate playing with us. You went 1 for 2. You're still in the running. We'll see if you can be the one who wins Who Wants to Grant a Billion.
Great. Thanks for having me, Dwayne.
No problem. Ron, you're up next.
Looking forward to it.
Excellent. Well, let's just get right into it. You have a chance to take the lead, seize the advantage of getting both of your questions right. Let's start with the first question. How much money did California receive from the American Rescue Plan Act in total? A, 10.2 billion, B, 22.4 billion, C, 31.8 billion, D, $43.6 billion.
Well, California is the largest economy, I believe, in the United States, state economy. 10 billion, A sounds low. 10 billion sounds very low. I think it's between C and D. I'm going to go with D, 43.6 billion.
Is that your final answer?
It's either that or C. I'm going to go with D.
D it is. Let's see if that's correct.
Yeah.
It is $43.6 billion. Data expert extraordinaire, Sarah Treuhaft, anything you'd like to add?
Yeah, so this was the American Rescue Plan Act was a $1.9 trillion bill. California did receive a lot of money. The way that breaks down, and we're looking specifically at the state and local fiscal recovery funds portion, which are pretty flexible dollars, is 27 billion of it went to the state of California, and then 8.6 billion went to the counties in California, and 8 billion went to California cities. And these are really flexible resources, and cities and counties are making a lot of decisions around how they will spend those resources now. So it's a really important time to be watching and tracking and seeing if those resources are being deployed and spent to advance equity and your missions.
Outstanding. And if you caught the plenary, you heard this is the moment to change the rules of the game as well. So, Ron, you now have a chance to seize the lead if you can get this question right. Let's move on to the next question. What proportion of the Infrastructure Investment and Jobs Act funding goes toward highways and bridges? Is it A, 66%, B, 89%, C, 75%, or D, 43%?
Well, highways and bridges are only a portion of the infrastructure. So I don't think it's B, although that might be the only thing Republicans and Democrats can agree on, if they can still. I really have no idea. How about if we poll the audience?
Yes, let's poll the audience. Audience, listen up. This one's for you. In the chat, you'll find the option to vote for the live poll. Submit your answer quickly. You only have 30 seconds. And as we vote, we'll see. We have more, as I mentioned earlier, almost 300 participants. I'll be very interested to see how many folks can home in on the right answer. And almost how many folks believe that Republicans and Democrats can even agree on anything. That might be a good poll question in itself. Starting to see some results coming in. If you had to guess right now, Ron, which one would you go with before you got the audience's help?
66%.
66%. Interesting. We'll see if the audience's intuition matches your own as well.
Hopefully their collective intelligence is wiser than mine.
Well, we have a lot of collective intelligence on the line today, so I'm no doubt that you'll get the right answer. It looks like it's coming through and that the audience is voting for A. Are you confident that your intuition and the collectives is good?
That's a little astonishing, but let's go with A.
All right, let's look at the results. It is A. Incredible. The sector is vibing with you today, Ron. Sarah, tell us a bit about why this is 66%.
Yeah, it's a huge amount, right? So California, this is just looking at the formula funding that will come down from the infrastructure bill. And that's important because there's a lot of other funding that's discretionary and will be competitive. That discretionary funding will be guided by the Justice 40 initiative, which says we're going to make sure that 40% of dollars go to disadvantaged communities. But the largest part of the money is going to go to these very traditional infrastructure pots. So in California, it's $45 billion in formula funding, which interestingly is about the same as the American Rescue Plan Act flexible dollars, right? So 45 million of that, 25 billion is going to highways and 4 billion is going to bridges. About 9 billion will go to public transportation. 3.5 billion will go to water. And then the rest will go to expanding electrical vehicle charging networks, expanding broadband, wildfire protection, protecting against cyber attacks, and airports. So for those resources, it will really be about contracting, who's getting the money, what projects, who's getting hired on the projects, are they going to be good jobs, things like that, that we'll really need to advocate to ensure the resources are spent in a way that advances equitable recovery goals.
Excellent. And you mentioned the drought recovery money or support money, that obviously a critical issue where we might need it a little different than other parts of the country. All right, well, Ron, you have answered both questions correctly, which puts you in the driver's seat. Although, to be fair, you had 225 people helping you, so I feel like you were ganging up a bit on Priscilla. But hey, those are the rules of the game.
Thanks.
Next up,
it was a pleasure.
Oh, no worries. Glad you could be here. Next up, Alex. Oh, there she is. Are you ready, Alex?
Ready as I'll ever be. Let's get going, Dwayne.
All right, well, let's go with the first question. Which of the following investments cannot be supported using the American Rescue Plan local fiscal recovery funds? A, child care assistance. B, premium pay for farm workers. C, hiring more police officers. D, replenishing rainy day funds.
Wow, I am really wishing I had read this act before this morning. That's a really good question. I am sure that C is allowed. And I'm hoping that A and B are allowed, but I am not sure. Let's say, gosh, Dwayne, I'm not sure here. Cannot be supported. I would say B is not supported through this act, but I'm not positive. But that is my final answer because I don't think just sitting here longer will help.
Replenishing rainy day funds. Let's find out if that is in fact the right answer.
Yes.
Oh, wait, did you say D or did you say B?
I said B.
Oh, I'm so sorry to hear that.
I'm so glad to be wrong. I've never been happier to be wrong, though.
I heard B, but the game gods heard all. So, in fact, it's rainy day funds cannot be replenished. Sarah, anything you can tell us about this?
Yeah, so like I mentioned, these are really flexible resources. They were allocated to respond to the health and economic impacts of the pandemic, provide premium pay for essential workers, invest in water, sewer, and broadband infrastructure. And, a lot of places are using these dollars to invest equitably. They are putting it toward housing, affordable housing solutions, housing trust funds, community land trusts, eviction prevention, guaranteed income pilots like in Mountain View, California, child care assistance and supporting facilities, targeted supports for marginalized communities like refugees, undocumented people, artists of color, for example, and returning citizens. But of course, as you hinted at, Alex, and you might have read this article, many cities, there was an article by Sam Levin of The Guardian that highlighted how many California cities are actually using these resources to fund police, very traditional, sources of yeah, that we really don't want to, we don't think of as equitable investments. But like I said, cities and counties still are making decisions, and there's a lot of possibility to fund those equity investments. So again, it's really an opportunity to advocate so that we see them being deployed as we want to for our missions.
And I thank you, sir. I'm sure this speaks to the work that was happening along the way. For farm workers to be considered essential workers likely took some advocacy behind the scenes as the bill was getting drafted. So good, just another case in point of where this work can make a difference. All right, well, this is your chance to even the scales, Alex. Let's go to your next question. Which of the following is not a core objective of the state of California's Community Economic Resilience Fund, also known as SERF? A, establish new regional planning tables in 13 regions. B, achieve a measurable reduction in carbon emissions. C, bolster equity outcomes. Or D, develop and expand environmentally sustainable industries that create high quality, broadly accessible jobs.
Oh, wow. This is a really exciting project. And gosh, the type on some of these is so small that I feel like I'm at a slight disadvantage. So could we start off by just going 50-50 on these?
Absolutely. You've got the option. Let's get rid of two of those options for Alex. And maybe one of them will be the small type. And it is. Look at that. That helped your readability, if not your decision making.
That sure did. I was hoping D would disappear because it was a little too small for my eyes. Okay, so I think I know a little bit about this one. I think I'm going to go with B, is not a core objective of the California Community Economic Resiliency Fund.
Final answer?
Yes, it's my final answer.
Excellent. Didn't want to shake you, just checking. Let's see what the answer is. In fact, it is D. Achieve
oh my God.
Not an objective. Sarah, can you tell us a little bit about this?
Yeah, so to be fair to the California state government running the SERF program, the goal of the program really is to create regional plans for just transition. So transitioning to sustainable industries, creating good jobs, but it's the measurable reduction piece of this that made it not the correct answer. But the program, so it's a state program. It is funded with $600 million in state funds. So it was actually initially supported by the American Rescue Plan Act, and then they switched it and had it be funded by the state general fund. So right now we are in the planning phase. There are two phases for this program. There's a planning phase and an implementation phase. We're in the planning phase right now. So grants of about $5 million will go to 13 regions in California. So the state was carved up into 13 regions, and each region will create a new regional planning table, which is thought of as a team of teams. And the goal here really is to bring in voices that are not typically engaged in economic development planning. So to have the folks who've been doing the comprehensive economic development plans, but then also to engage the most impacted communities, environmental justice communities, tribal communities, marginalized communities in the process. And then that planning phase will last 18 months to 24 months. And then there will be an implementation phase where about $500 million in grants will go to implementing projects that are creating diversified, accessible, well-paying jobs, especially for disinvested communities.
Excellent. Thank you for that, Sarah. I know that's a very important process here in the state. Alex, if the Warriors go 50% in the next game, I think we'll be okay. So don't feel bad about your performance at all. Thank you for playing with us.
Thanks for having me, Dwayne.
Absolutely. Now let's turn the questions to all of you watching. We're going to do a little bonus round here. For a final bonus question, we want you all to take a guess. Sarah, you're still here to help me with this, right?
Still here.
Excellent. Well, let's look at this question. What was the ratio of annual foundation spending in California? Annual foundation spending relative to the annual state budget. And we'll use the year 2018. We have data for that. Again, what was the ratio of annual foundation spending in California to the annual state budget in 2018? A, 1 to 3. B, 1 to 6, C, 1 to 10, D, 1 to 20. We'll give you a moment to decide. Remember, there's quite a bit of philanthropy in California. But the question is, how do we measure up to what the state can produce? Put those answers in the poll now. And for the record, we thought of playing Jeopardy music here, but we didn't want to mix our metaphors, so we decided we'd leave that be. Not to mention the licensing possibilities. Going 30 seconds with a clip of music, you know how that can be. I think our responses are beginning to come in. And it looks like we have an answer. The majority, the largest voting block in this is C, 1 to 10. I'd ask if it's your final answer, but you'd all have to answer your poll again. So let's just go right to the board and see what the answer is. In fact, it is indeed C, 1 to 10. Excellent. This is amazing. It shows we can make an impact, but we really have to move those state dollars in a meaningful way. Otherwise, we will not make the difference we want to see. I want to thank everyone for voting. Sarah, can you tell a bit more about this?
Yeah, I mean, you already said the takeaway, right? Like the state budget really eclipses all other sources of funds, but because we've been talking about 45 billion in infrastructure dollars and American Rescue Plan dollars, but the state budget it was 201 billion in 2018, and California's foundations gave 21 billion in 2018. In 2022, the state budget is going to be $286 billion. So, we might be undercounting on the foundation side because of all these new tech funders. I don't know, but still, really, it is the state budget that kind of trumps all other sources of funding in terms of dollars. So how do we leverage those resources is the key question.
Sarah, thanks for being our data expert today. We wish you were around all the time to help us with these questions.
Thank you. It's great to have been here with you.
Excellent. Well, thank you all for playing Who Wants to Grant a Billion. After 3 contestants, here are the results. We had our first contestant, Priscilla, getting 1 of 2 correct. Our second contestant, Ron, getting 2 of 2 correct. And of course, Alex, our third contestant, getting 1 of 2 correct. So Ron is the champion of today's round of Who Wants to Grant a Billion. Ron, congratulations.
It was amazing to play and depressing to hear these statistics. Thanks a lot for inviting me, Dwayne.
No worries. The great thing is we're all so privileged to work in philanthropy so we're all winners. Hardly anyone can actually grant a billion amongst us, but collectively, as part of this community, we can indeed make an impact. When we collaborate, we can make a big difference. So remember these things as you think about how we do our work. Contestants aren't the only winners. You all get a prize as well. All conference registrants will receive a free custom print by a local artist for joining us today. You can get a sneak preview of it in our swap card, I believe. You'll get your link in the post-conference email as well, so keep an eye out for that. With that, we hope you'll join us for our breakout sessions to close out day 1 of the annual conference. Today, you can choose from 3 of the 6 breakouts we're going to have. The first is Centering Healing and Wellness in Youth Organizing. The second is Democracy Despite Crises. And the third is Realities of Reentry for the formerly incarcerated. You'll find the option for all 3 sessions on your swap card agenda. I'll see you there. Everyone go forward and continue to learn and have a good time today. And we'll look forward to these breakouts.